toward the U.S. Virgin Islands earlier this week, there was substantial backlash to an executive order by the governor of that territory, Kenneth Mapp. He seemingly authorized the National Guard in the Virgin Islands to seize people's guns and ammunition. The NRA threatened legal action over the order. Last night we talked to Governor Mapp. He said it was just a misunderstanding. Watch this.
That is just a complete incorrect assessment. I did not order or authorize the Adjutant General of the Virgin Islands National Guard to seize any weapons from any citizens, and I do not have the power by Virgin Islands law or by the Constitution of the United States to seize weapons from citizens via the military. This order is a standing order that most Adjutant Generals receive.
And the order said clearly that the National Guard has the authority to seize weapons and ammunition. What is going on here? To get to the bottom of it, we're joined by radio host and NRA spokeswoman Dana Lash. I was confused by that interview with the governor last night, and our questions were completely sincere. Are you planning to do this? The order seemed to me as a non-attorney to give power to the National Guard to do this. What exactly is the truth? Do you know?
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me. I watched you question the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and just as you were, I was also confused, and so were millions of members of the NRA, because there was a lot of discussion. What on earth does he mean that he only was allowing the National Guard to procure firearms and ammunition for use in these emergency purposes? Because, Tucker, and you quoted the statement that this governor himself released, he was allowing, he used the word seize firearms. Yes. It didn't say procure firearms. He said seize firearms and ammunition and any sort of incendiary weaponry, anything, explosive devices, anything of that nature. He used the word seize, and so he says there's a misunderstanding. I am happy to believe that there is one, but yet there's the troubling problem of what he wrote in the statement, Tucker.
Well, sure, and you wouldn't need the authority to seize weapons from your own armory, of course, which is what he was trying to say. The fact remains that we've seen this in other natural disasters. We saw it during Katrina with Mayor Nagin, now in prison, who authorized the police force there to do it. And I guess what bothers me most is that it really is confirmation that a lot of the pro-Second Amendment people have a right to be a little bit paranoid about gun registration. If governments are going to use natural disasters as a pretext for violating your Second Amendment rights, like maybe you're not paranoid, maybe the concerns are legitimate.
You're spot on, Tucker. And during Katrina, I will never forget Superintendent Edward Compass, who was saying, look, you're not going to be able to walk around New Orleans armed. You're not going to be able to be armed with this disaster. And of course, there was actual firearm confiscation that took place. And it took the NRA getting involved legally in order to put a stop to this and to put pressure on these officials who were disarming law-abiding citizens who simply wanted to be able to protect themselves at a time, Tucker, when you had first responders and law enforcement who were completely overwhelmed with search and rescue missions of their own. And that's exactly what law-abiding Second Amendment practitioners are standing up for right now. During times such as these, and this is law. This was back in 2006. There was a Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Act. It was an amendment by Republican David Vitter from Louisiana, and it bars the federal government under the guise of helping during any sort of national disaster, using any kind of federal money, et cetera, to disarm law-abiding Americans using the context of national emergencies. And furthermore, this is a time when people most need to be able to protect themselves from looters, from other violence. They need to be able to protect themselves when you have law enforcement, as I said, and first responders who are most overwhelmed.